Hi, everyone. Welcome into another edition of the SHU Student Athlete Sit Down Series. My name is Dan Gardella. Thrilled to be joined by a member of the men's track and field team at Sacred Heart, Cameron Croce. Cameron, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, no problem, man.
It's funny, when you got interviewed by the newspaper over during the school year, and it turns out that track wasn't the first sport that you really started playing competitively. Tell me about it and how you got to loving track and really finding a passion for it and playing it in college.
Yeah, so honestly, I started off as a baseball player, and I played baseball and football my entire life, and I did that throughout high school. So track was more of an avenue to just get better at those sports. And when I went to high school, I went to a private school. So by the time I got there, the levels of competition were just so high that I kind of had to pick and choose what I wanted to do. So baseball, I ended up kind of steering away from that, focusing more on football, and then track was basically my training for that. And as the years went on, I just got better and better, and here I am.
So take me through your recruitment and how you got to Sacred Heart, how you got in touch with your coaches at Sacred Heart, and how did they find you when track really wasn't your primary sport that you were really training for?
Yeah, so I would say about my sophomore year in high school, I started to see some success and some jumps in my numbers, and I was really like looking forward to maybe going to college to do it. So, I started to look out and, get into contact with different coaches of different teams. And at the time, I was probably, I would say throwing the hammer around 170 feet in high school, which is, low D1 to D2. And so as the years went on, junior and senior year, I actually jumped about 30 feet each year. So I went from, 160, 170 on average to 190 and then 210 to 215 and was just hitting ridiculous numbers. And once that happened, then, all sorts of different coaches started reaching out. And I actually reached out to Sacred Heart in the first place. My mom loves the school. She wanted my older brothers to go there. And she's like, this would be a great fit for you, close to home. You can compete D1. And I was like, all right, you're right. It's a good fit. And just signed the papers and did it.
And in your first 2 years of competition, there have been so many accolades that you've racked up. Most outstanding rookie, individual champions. The list goes on and on. What have you been able to do at the college level that has allowed you to succeed as much as you have?
Yeah, I mean, it's just training and hard work. Like the dedication that goes into a college sport is just so much more intense than in high school. And in high school I put a lot of effort in, and it was like my main goal was to go to college to do track. So obviously I put a lot of work in there too, but now that I'm in college, it's like 6 to 7 hours a day on top of schoolwork and training that you really just have to keep your mind right and really put in the work to just succeed.
Your freshman year, you actually had a great upperclassman leader kind of being there with you and competing late in the season in Christian Turner. How much did you learn from him, whether it was mentality, work ethic? What did you learn from him that you're now carrying as you become an upperclassman?
Yeah, Christian, I mean, I love that kid. He became, kind of like a big brother to me over the past 2 years. And he just, he taught me to keep a good head on my shoulders and to stay humble and to really, with all these accolades, just present myself the right way and not to get too conceited and to always keep working because there's never a limit. I can always keep getting better in this sport. There's always a way to get better. So to keep training and pushing myself.
This year, obviously, with COVID going around and certain situations, you didn't get your full spring season. You didn't get a chance to continue to add on to the accolades. Walk us through the situation and when the decision ultimately came down that the NEC and the rest of college athletics would be put on hold. Walk us through where you were, what the meeting was like when you were originally told that your season was going to be cut short.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough news, not only for me, but to everybody who's an athlete in the spring. And, I was coming hot off my championship where I did win the weight, and I was super excited to get out there and, hopefully go back to back and win the hammer again. And I was actually trying to shoot for the NEC record, which, I didn't get to do, but like I am still young. So, I have junior, senior, and obviously now I have a redshirt season. So, just kind of getting sent home and focusing on my mental health with everybody else. I know a lot of people are, struggling with that, but I like to look at the positives and kind of look towards the future about how I'm going to get better for next year. And I've actually used this opportunity to just better myself. I'm actually in the process of training. I haven't stopped lifting. I was fortunate enough, one of my friends had a gym. So we actually never stopped lifting. And I know a lot of people didn't have that opportunity. And I'm fortunate enough to have that. But I've kept a good roll going. So
You mentioned the redshirt year that the NCAA ruled for spring athletes. Depending on how you do over these next 2 years, is that a thought that you could use that extra year if you're on the doorstep of possibly breaking an NEC record, or just really, really performing at your highest level?
yeah, I mean, definitely. I definitely want to utilize that. I don't want to look back, 20, 30 years down the road and say, man, I really wish I went to grad school and just did it for an extra year. I mean, I love it. So, I mean, by that time, I'm hoping, I'm more on the national level. So, obviously, the NEC record, I got to work for that really hard. But I'm hoping, in 2-3 years, by the time I do get that fifth year in, that I can be on the national stage and really put up some big numbers.
Now, track and field can typically at times be an individual sport. I know you are working towards setting your personal best, and throwers are a little different than runners, and so on and so forth. But how do you try to make it a team game? How do you try to encourage your teammates to elevate their play and perform at their best when at the same time you're still trying to focus on, I want to throw the best that I can?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to meets and really just cheering for your team. Nothing feeds like PRs just by high level intensity and energy with everybody cheering and screaming like, come on. And even in practice, keeping that same energy and really just focusing on bringing your team up instead of putting them down. A lot of times people like to put other people down to make themselves feel better, but on our team, we try to keep a positive attitude as much as we can.
And lastly, like I said, accomplishments over and over through your first 2 years. There's that goal for you to try and break the NEC record. What do you have to do to eventually be on the doorstep or even break the NEC record for you?
I'm knocking on that door, man. I'm real close, real close. Honestly, I really think I would have done it this year, and then they got cut short. But next year, hopefully, I can add 10 feet to it. So, I'm just gonna keep training, working hard. Work on my diet and staying healthy during the school year, and really just hitting the grindstone, getting to it.
That's awesome. Well, Cameron, thanks so much for joining me. Best of luck in your training, and we'll be looking to see if you can hopefully break that NEC record next season. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.